As the week comes to an end, my dear friends, the church celebrates the feast of St. Matthew the Apostle. Today is the 21st day of September, and our short reflection is going to center on the gospel passage today, and our biblical text will be from Matthew chapter 9, verse 9. As Jesus was walking on from there, he saw a man named Mathew sitting at the tax office, and he said to him, "Follow me." And he got up and followed him. The gospel passage of today is a narrative of the call of Matthew the apostle. In the list of the apostles you see later on in this same Matthew chapter 10 verse 3, there is always an appendage that accompanies his name. He is referred to as Matthew the tax collector. The other synoptic gospels, namely Mark and Luke, refer to him as Levi, but Matthew prefers addressing himself as Matthew the tax collector. The phrase the tax collector indicates his background and summarizes what we are celebrating today. In the passage, Jesus was making a movement, and this man was sitting in the tax office doing his work. For no merit of his own, for no just reason, Jesus extended a hand of fellowship, a hand of invitation, a hand of call to him. And with promptness, Matthew, as if to say he was waiting for this invitation, responded positively and followed Jesus. He didn't end there. He also hosted Jesus in his house, where he offered the opportunity for other tax collectors to come and have the same encounter he had with Jesus. This feast that he hosted in his house stirred up jealousy among the Pharisees, and they began to complain. And Jesus responded to them in a way that is worthy of consideration. As we celebrate the feast of St. Matthew today, there are a few lessons for us from this gospel narrative. The first of them is that God does not inherit our enemies. Matthew was a tax collector, quite alright, and tax collectors were regarded as sinners by the Pharisees and the Jews. They were regarded as wicked men because they were collaborating with the Romans in extorting their own people. So they were considered as sinners and as enemies by the Jews. So what we see playing out in the gospel narrative today is that the Pharisees were also expecting Jesus as a Jew to express the same hatred that they have towards the tax collectors. But Jesus, the other way around, did not treat tax collectors the same way, telling us and teaching us that God does not inherit our enemies. That somebody hurts us or somebody offended us does not automatically make that person an enemy to God. Our enemies are not God's enemies. And I think the background of the call of Matthew also informed his gospel. Because if you go a little bit back to the Sermon of Jesus on the Mount, Matthew chapter 5, verse 7, Matthew says it clearly. From the mouth of Jesus we hear that blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Furthermore, Jesus teaches us in this same chapter the need for us to pray for our enemies. So the major lesson for us, my dear friends, is that God does not inherit our enemies. He does not hate people because we hate them. He doesn't punish people because we want him to punish them. God is a God of mercy and love. So be merciful, my friend. Forgive and let go. The second lesson for us also from this gospel narrative is from Matthew himself. Matthew made himself a point of contact between sinners and the love of God. He used the opportunity of his conversion experience to create the avenue for other sinners like himself to experience the love of God and to have opportunity to sit with Jesus Christ and his disciples. When we are forgiven by God, he expects us to become messengers and apostles of his mercy and forgiveness, and then create within ourselves the opportunity for other sinners to experience the love of God. By doing so, Matthew lived out the full meaning of his name, because his name in Greek means a gift of the Lord. So when God gives us the gift of his mercy, he expects us to become also a gift of mercy to other people around us. We are living in a world where people have vengeance always in their hearts, like the Pharisees in the gospel of today. They expect God to be wicked to those whom they consider and regard to be sinners. But Jesus in today's gospel makes us to realize that he did not come for those who are righteous, but for those who are sinners, because it is only the sick who is always in need of the physician. May Matthew, the apostle, continue to intercede for us so that the grace of God will continue to multiply among us. May God bless you. Have a wonderful weekend.